Let me know when you're ready, Melissa, and we'll
get all my coughs out.
get some water going, get some clear throat.
I just got to get my water going. Find when I talk, I get kind of gravelly after a while, so I'm trying to avoid that.
Now, where are you out of? Where are you located?
San Antonio, Texas.
Okay. Very cool. Very, very cool. Okay. Let me know when you're ready. We'll get going.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome, everybody, to the 74th episode of the #InvestThis podcast. Of course, I am your host, Scott Bauer. Today, we have Melissa Johnson with us. Melissa, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing so well today. It's just not even funny. So good. A little bit about Melissa. So she has been in the business or in the industry for 16 years and has done over 1,000 deals. She knows what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. And as CEO of Danny Buys Houses, she balances her creative design side with the practicalities of running a real estate investment company. As an official member of the Forbes Real Estate Council, the NAWBO, which stands for the National Association of Women Business Owners, and contributor to the Flipping Junkie blog, she enjoys sharing her unique perspective on running a successful real estate investing business based on real-life experience and actual results. So pretty exciting stuff. I'm excited to have you on the show. Thank you for joining us. And first and foremost, I want to also remind everybody out there that if you're getting value from this podcast, please subscribe to it for one, but also share it. We're trying to spread the word. We're trying to spread our mission of helping real estate entrepreneurs build their business and excel at lightning speed. So, I just want to put that out there. So anyways, Melissa, how are you?
Good.
Good. Well, why don't you give the listeners a little bit more about your background and what you're focused on now, and we'll have a conversation.
Sure. So I've been flipping houses for 16 years in San Antonio. Mostly rehabbing, have also done some, quite a bit more wholesaling lately, just because that's great. And got some long-term stuff, some owner finance notes, and also rental properties. So that's kind of where those 4 things are kind of my main areas, but lots of rehabs. Didn't start out in real estate, came from the kind of corporate world, I guess, and worked for a defense contractor for several years, and then started doing this part-time, and then eventually moved into full-time. And now we've got a small team, and like you said, we've done probably over 1,000 houses throughout the years. And let's see, what else am I doing? All the things pretty much. Learned a lot over the years about how to build a team, learned a lot about leadership, learned different exit strategies, and really enjoy sharing with other people all the things that I've learned through, education, through our blog, things like that. So that's what I'm doing.
That's in a nutshell what it is. Well, let's start kind of at the beginning, because I think it's a common theme for a lot of real estate people out there, or people that are in the investment space, realtor, everybody, right? Starts, and it seems like corporate America. That's where I came from originally, at the very, 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 very beginning. So let's talk about that transition to start off with. You were talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, sure. So getting started was kind of scary, right? Because it's a huge change. It's a big leap. And so, we started the business, and we were both working. My husband and I were both working full time, and we started doing it part time. His dad was doing it, and we saw the success that he was having, and kind of were digging the lifestyle he was leading. And so, we decided, well, we'll give this a try. This seems like something we could do, and never any thought that it wouldn't work out or anything. Just really just jumped right into it. Did a lot of self-educating. We had a mentor, and that was really important relationship to have in the beginning. Stayed with him for a while, did a lot of deals with him, and eventually were able to move out and go out on our own and go full time with no mentor and, quit our jobs and all that good stuff.
So, I think that you said something at the beginning that really makes a ton of sense, and it's very, very important. And what you said was that you didn't have any doubt that it wasn't going to work. You didn't know how it was going to work quite yet. You got a mentor, you got somebody to help you, but you didn't have any doubt in the back of your mind. And I think for all the listeners out there, that's a big piece of information to let that sink in a little bit, because it's very easy to get distracted or to have doubts about starting a business and knowing that you're going to be successful. Would you say that when you first started, it was a smooth sailing and really no hiccups came up?
Definitely not. But we were so tenacious, we just wanted it so badly that the focus was there, and we just completely focused on that and just knowing that's what we wanted to do. And so I think when you're just so driven towards something, you ignore a lot. So it was, having to learn a lot fast too, dealing with contractors. We had never been in a position like that before. Construction, learning all these different exit strategies, because it was 2006, I think, when we started, something like that.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm sorry, it wasn't 2003. It was 2003. 2006 was when we went full time.
Okay.
So we were in it part time for quite a while before we made the full time transition.
So, gosh, you said something else there that I wanted to touch on, but I forgot, so we'll come back to it. So starting off, did you start off flipping? Oh, I remember what I was going to say. So just that you were committed, you burned the boats, you decided that this is what I'm going to do, and you didn't look back, right? That is huge, because that commitment is what has allowed you to succeed. I mean, in anything that you do out there, doesn't matter what industry or business it's in, if you're not convinced that you're going to be successful, you don't have the drive to go do that, then it probably won't be that way. But because you did and you stuck to it, look where you're at now, right?
Right. Yeah. Mindset's huge in this business. That's, something that we talk about a lot. It's just getting over that initial fear, and getting out there and just making it happen.
Yep. So walk me down day one. Let's go to day one. First flip, what was it? How'd you get it? Was it a single family? Was it a small multifamily? What did that look like?
Yeah, it was a single family home. It was actually a burnout house. So it had a lot of fire damage. And it was sort of a disappointment, because, our mentor was a big flipper. And so we just went into it thinking, well, we have to, rehab everything. So that was our thing. We were just going to rehab stuff. So we got the house off of a funky postcard that we designed. I think it had a sky and some dollar bills falling out of the sky. It was really cheesy, but we got a call from it. Yeah, it works. Funky marketing works. And so she called us up, and we went out, looked at the house and everything. And it was a weird situation, because the house had burned. She had got insurance money for the house, but she didn't fix the house. She went and bought another house. And so it had been sitting for a while. And then it turns out there was all kinds of issues with the deed. And I really can't remember everything that happened, but it ended up being a weird thing where this attorney got involved, and he ended up buying the property. And so it ended up being an assignment, almost like a wholesale deal. Before that was really a big thing like it is now. So we just kind of flipped a piece of paper, basically. So that was kind of a bummer, because we made money, great, but
yeah, that's a beautiful thing. This was 2003-ish, right? So wholesaling was still not really in the main, it wasn't the focal point of a lot of people yet, right?
Right.
But so
I remember freaking out though, because we got the check, right? And I looked at it and I was like, that is my whole year's salary in this check. I wasn't making great money, but still I think that was a transitional moment though, to see wow, this really works. and just, yeah, it was great.
So, that was day one. That was the first wholesale deal. You got paid. You're like, this is phenomenal. I'm so excited about it, right? What happened from there? So that was 2003. Let's lead up to 2006 or so, because we all know what happened at that point in time. How did that upswing go?
So it was really great for a while until it wasn't.
Yep.
So, I mean, we were just doing crazy, lots of deals, lots of rehabbing. We were picking up owner finance stuff, creating some notes, doing a lot of that kind of thing. But mostly just the flipping, the rehabbing. And then, we started to see that gradual shift start to happen in the market, because what we were doing was we were creating notes at that time, and then we were selling them to note buyers, and we were selling them like crazy, like 92% or something like that.
Were these performing or non-performing notes at this point?
They were performing notes.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was just an exit strategy for us for some of these houses. So, it worked out, but then we sold a lot of just regular stuff too. So that was going on. And then, we kept putting money back in the company, back into the marketing, stuff like that. So we kept getting deals. Well, then it started to dry up, and then we came to a point where we weren't able to sell anything. So then 2006 rolled around. We couldn't sell the notes anymore because nobody was buying notes. We couldn't sell the properties because nobody was buying anything. And so we made a transition. And this is, I think, a key thing too for people to think about, is being able to shift with the market and being able to pivot when you need to, and not getting just pigeonholed into one exit strategy. And so with our experience doing the owner finance stuff, it allowed us to at least move properties and sell them on owner financing. We weren't really cash flowing anything at the time, but we were moving them, and we were creating passive income for later years. But in the meantime, it's getting pretty lean. We didn't have a lot of cash, so it was getting a little scary there for a while, but we hung in there, and we just, there was a moment I remember us saying, my God, are we going to have to go get jobs, again? This is going to suck. And, but it worked out. We put the blinders on again and just said, we're just going to have to work a little bit harder. We got kind of complacent with that great market.
Yeah.
And so we knuckled down, worked hard, and drummed up some more deals, and were able to weather the storm. And then once we came through that, it was great, because we had now we had this, collection of long-term notes, that were providing passive income for us. And we were able to weather the storm and come through to be able to stay in the game and buy more properties, get ramped up again.
So that was like 2006 was like the height of the market, at least here in Phoenix it was. San Antonio, I know, was fairly similar as well. And then we had the fallout, right? So this is probably the time you're talking about where you were running lean, creating notes. These were for later money, so to speak, right? So stuff that that will pay out later, but at the time you weren't really making any money.
Right.
When did you really start to see the uptick again? And was it all like, were you fixing flipping, or were you still, creating notes and things like that at that time? What did that look like?
Yeah, once the market started to shift, to correct itself, and things were kind of getting back to normal, then we started with the flipping again.
What year was that?
Got 5 kids, so the years kind of blend together.
Okay.
It's a little mushy. I want to say I felt like things really started getting better around like 2008, 2009, okay. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, because my daughter was really small at the time, so it was like really rough right when she was born. And then soon after that, it started to get a little bit better. So it might have been about 2009, actually.
Okay, 2009. So when I think of that time frame, that's the bottom of the barrel. That was when everything was on sale and it was time to buy. I mean, that was the time, right? So 2009, 10, 11, you start flipping again. I mean, was it all flips? Is that when you were starting to build out a team, or at what time did you decide, you and your husband say, okay, this is a legitimate business, let's build a team out of it?
That's a funny story because we didn't actually plan to do that.
Okay.
Our mentor was always of the mind of, just, you don't need to hire people. That's a liability, this and that. And that worked out fine for him. What happened though was in 2014, we started a software company, and, because my husband has a software development background. So we started creating websites for real estate investors. So if anyone's heard of Lead Propeller, that's us.
Okay.
So when we started that company, though, it was like our focus got kind of all over the place because, we have the software company and we still have the flipping company, and we were both intertwined in both of them. And then we developed like a little CRM system that we were just using ourselves, but then we decided to kind of revamp that and put that out on the market for people. And then we started offering services. So it just kind of grew into this thing where we were getting really overwhelmed. And at that time we joined a mastermind, and we were, doing our give, and we were talking about, what we were giving and then where we needed help. And we realized that, it was crazy for both of us to be intertwined in two businesses. And he's the one with the software background, not me. So I figured, well, let's split this up. You handle all the software company stuff and I'll handle all the house flipping stuff. And that was a great decision for us. But I also knew I myself couldn't do all that because the two of us had been doing it together all that time. So that's when we decided to start hiring people. And I didn't know anything about hiring people because I had never been a manager at my job. I've never hired people before. So it was really kind of scary.
But something that you had to kind of go through. And so, we can kind of dig into that. It's a whole, that could be the hiring process, managing process. I mean, it's a learning curve that continues to evolve over time, right?
For sure.
What mastermind did you guys join at that time?
At that time, we had joined Justin Williams' group, the 7-figure flipping group.
Yep. Very, very cool. Is that how we got connected by chance? I think it was.
Probably.
Something like that. I was in the mastermind for very, 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 very short amount of time. I was at a point in my life where I was in too many masterminds, which for all the listeners out there, that is a real thing. You can be in too many. You can listen to too many people, but that's another thing. And I'm sure that really helped you, right? I mean, that helped propel where you were going, right?
For sure. Yeah. I hadn't, it wasn't in our frame of reference to even hire a team of people just because we weren't exposed to that sort of thing. We were just doing it on our own, just like laying low and doing our thing. And that really changed a lot for us.
So let's take a transition then. Let's talk about that specific part of your business and hiring, and what happened to your business when you did decide that a team is necessary and you took the steps to make that happen. How did your business evolve, and what tips and pointers can you give to the listeners so that they can do the same thing in their business?
Well, it was, first of all, it's really hard, right, when you start a business and letting somebody else into your business. So I feel like that was kind of, for me, the first hurdle to overcome, because you're used to doing things your own way and wearing all the hats and stuff. And then suddenly you've got to like take a hat off and give it to someone else and trust them, with a piece of your business, your baby. So that was a thing that just to learn about and get through mentally. But then it was really, we hired an acquisitions person first, and then after him, we ended up bringing in, he transitioned into doing dispositions, and then we hired another acquisitions person. Eventually we hired a lead manager. And then the original guy became kind of my COO, and brought in another dispositions person instead. And hired a project manager finally, but all this evolved over time. It was more of like, as you need the things. So what I like to tell people is when you're doing all the things, first sit down and write down everything you're doing, and then figure out, what do you like, what you don't like, and the stuff you don't like, hire that out, delegate that out to somebody else, especially if you're not good at it. And that's where knowing your strengths and weaknesses are so important too. And so, like, I'm not good at acquisitions, and I knew I had to get an acquisitions person in there, and then the other stuff is just so time consuming. You just can't do it all at that point if you want to grow.
It's so interesting to me to hear a different, I've heard so many different people and there are different ways of hiring and the strategies that they use in the process for them. Some start with lead manager first. Some start with an admin first. Some start with the acquisitions guy first, because obviously if you're not good at acquisitions, you can't really do much unless you have product, right? So you need to have that. But there are several different ways to skin the cat, so to speak. There's different ways that you can do things and still get the same result or better every time. And so thank you for sharing how that works. And what does the team look like now?
So that's kind of another interesting story, right? So I had actually got back into the software company last year. So we kind of, I had let go almost everybody on my team last year for various reasons. And so it was kind of like, well, I could either rebuild all this team, or we were launching a big product in the software company, Flip Pilot. So I was thinking, well, I could be a big help over here, because I had grown our flipping business to be very profitable with a small team, and it was going really well. I mean, really, really well financially. So I thought, well, I could take that expertise and maybe apply this to the software company I work over there. But then that ended up not being a really good fit for me. So I came back, and I've actually been rebuilding my team. So I've got just about everybody else in place again, new people, new team. But
now, did I just see, I'm just thinking back, did I see with Don Costa something, were you on an interview with him the other day about Flip Pilot or something like that?
That was probably our Mastermind.
Okay. That
we just started. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a new thing. That's another thing that I've been working on also, aside from the house flipping business.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a group of us that are starting a Mastermind, and Don Costa's part of it. So.
Okay, very cool. Don's a great guy. Like him. He's been on the show as well. So anyways, didn't mean to interrupt. I was just thinking, like, okay, I saw that somewhere. I thought maybe it was Flip Pilot. I don't know. Anyways.
There's so many videos. Who knows?
And that's the truth. That is absolutely the truth. So, okay. So you have the software company. Last year you fired your whole team. The software company is still doing well. You're still selling that, and that's bringing in revenue. Mm-hmm. Now you decided that, hey, I'm going to go back in and start building my real estate team again. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. So how is that going? And what was the decision? Why now again do you want to start doing that?
It was funny. I realized being in that software company, well, there was actually a lot of things I realized. One of the big things I realized is I'm not an implementer. I am an idea person. I have like a million ideas, and I need people to execute them for me, because my brain's always thinking of things like, we could try this and let's do this. And it's always with reason. It's not like crazy stuff, but,
yeah.
But when I was over there, I realized that, one, I'm not an implementer, and that's what was needed in that company. And the other thing I realized was that I truly, really love house flipping, and I really love this business, and I love it for so many reasons. One is just, I feel like I'm a creative person, and I feel like I can be creative doing this, by taking an ugly house, making it pretty, redesigning something. But I also really love business a lot. And I just love like digging into all the things and analyzing the business and how can I make it more efficient. And let's try this, and just all of those things. And I feel like I can really own that in the real estate business and then share with other people. I really enjoy that too, just connecting with other investors and just giving the benefit of all the experience that we've had.
So it's kind of like twofold, right? You're kind of being selfish on one hand because you love to do it, but it's also giving at the same time. So you're being selfish and giving all in one. What a great combo,
Yeah.
right?
Win-win. Everybody wins.
Well, and I think it's so, you talked about you had a mentor at the very beginning, right? And so something that you're able to provide to somebody else, some tips, some tricks, some advice, whatever it might be, to get them off the ground or to get them, pointed in the right direction is huge because of the impact you have on those people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So hats off to you for that. That's phenomenal.
Thank you.
But how's that process going? Is the real estate side, is it all just in your market? Or are you out? Are you out? Are you doing virtual marketing? Are you doing?
No, so one of our core values is keep it simple.
Amen.
And I love it. I think it's my favorite core value because I don't like things that are super complicated. I think it's just, and it's fine for other people. I'm not, no judgment here. If you want to be in multiple markets, that's fine. For me, it's just too much. I would rather completely dominate the market I'm in than be in 5 different markets. It's just, I know San Antonio at this point, like, I just feel like there's always something there. There's always something that can be better, and there's plenty here without me having to go somewhere else to do that. That just feels complicated to me, and I don't like it.
I couldn't agree with you more. In the real estate investment space today, especially with the way technology goes and the internet, there's a big push. You hear it at least from the talking heads out there on social media and everything like that you can do virtual marketing, you can have a virtual wholesale business and whatever. But I agree with you that, you don't really have that, at least the way I feel, you don't have the control in another market that you do in your own.
Right.
Right. Not only that, but because your boots on the ground in your own market, you can see things coming that others, or that you wouldn't be able to see in a market that you're not present in. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So for the listeners out there, I think I've had a podcast on here about virtual wholesaling, and for some people it works and it can be very profitable, and that depends on the personality type that you have and what your risk tolerance looks like, etc. But interesting to hear your perspective on that. So thank you.
Yeah.
What does the next 5 years look like for you? Other than the software company, what are we going to see out of Melissa Johnson in the next 5 years?
Oh, I don't know. Hopefully good things. I'm really committed to growing this mastermind. I'm super excited about it. It was an opportunity that came up for me very recently. And I'm just really excited to do something different, to have a high level, like, fun mastermind with people that are in the right places too, in their business. It's one of those things where, there's masterminds out there. I think that sometimes if you write a check, you can be in it, and it might not necessarily be where you need to be. You know what I mean? Like if you're not in the room with the right people for where you're at, helping each other out and stuff and growing together. And that's kind of, what we're trying to focus on is, we want everybody to grow together and move up to the next level. And so I think it's a really great opportunity to do what I've been doing anyway. I've been doing it on such a small scale. I speak at little meetups and events and stuff for women, which is another like close to my heart kind of thing, because I feel like there's a lot of women that want to be in this business, but they're scared and they don't know where to start and that sort of thing. So I really enjoy encouraging them, and starting this mastermind, I feel like it's an opportunity to bring up a lot of people at once instead of just, one at a time.
Is that what what is it? National Association of Women Business Owners? Is that kind of tied in with that a little bit?
It does. Yeah, we do mentoring for women in business also. I mean, not necessarily real estate, but it's all business. So that's a part of it. And then just speaking and sharing and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I think, yeah, real estate is just the product, right? Business is business. Business,
right.
Every business has a product and every business has sales. So, real estate just happens to be the business that we're talking about right now, but it's applicable across all business, right? So I want to make sure that we talk about what you're doing with the Forbes Real Estate Council. What is that? How does that work? What is your role there, and how are you helping people, or what is that?
So it's another cool little side thing that I do. I don't get anything from it other than just some credibility, but I enjoy it. So you have to apply, they vet you. I had to do an interview. I had to provide some financial information, stuff like that, because you've got to be at a certain level to be a part of that. But then once they approve you, then I get to write articles and have them published in Forbes. And, that's cool. And just reach more people than just my circle of people that I'm so connected with just through the blog and everything, just my personal network. I feel like it's allowed me to grow my network and to share even more with more people. And I like writing, so it's kind of weird, but I actually enjoy writing the articles and contributing.
Somebody has to do it, Melissa. I can tell you that's not going to be me. You're not going to find me writing for any sort of Forbes paper or anything like that. So I'm glad that you love to do it. I really appreciate that, actually, because somebody has to do it. But do you think, you mentioned earlier in the call that you have rentals, you guys have seller finance deals, you're flipping, I'm guessing you're wholesaling as well. What are we going to expect to see? Are you trying to stay and dominate your market there in San Antonio, or do you think that, and will it be in flipping? I mean, I'm trying to get an idea of what to expect out of you the next 5 years so that next time we talk, I can hold you accountable.
Oh boy. My goal with the house flipping company, and I've said this for a while now, bigger is not necessarily better.
Amen.
And so for me, if I'm doing, 50, 60 deals a year at a 35% gross profit margin, I'm great with that. I've got a small team. I've got low overhead. I would rather run a smart business than, a barely breaking even business. I don't have to do hundreds of deals a year. I'm not interested in that. It doesn't work with my keep it simple thing. But we still, operate at nice profit margins to where, we don't have to kill ourselves doing stuff, but we all make plenty, and we've got, I've got the notes and stuff like that for the passive income. So I want to continue to, grow a little bit more, but I don't have a desire to grow it to be like a huge thing. I'm not trying to be in multiple markets. I just want to be the best in our market. And I want to be the people that, I was just talking to somebody about this morning too. I feel like one advantage that we do have is just that we've been around for so long. And so people can see, like, over time, we're still here, our website's still ranking at the top. We get so many deals now off of referrals and follow-up stuff, which is big, because it's people that we bought houses from before, and they're telling other people, and we've already got that credibility and stuff. And so just being in the game for so long is a big thing. So I want to keep that going, but I also want to grow into other things too. Like, I want to grow that mastermind, and I've got like 5 ideas for other companies and things I want to do.
You're the ideal girl. That's what you are. You need that implementer out there.
I know, I am. I have a whole notebook of stuff. It's crazy.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's how we see the world change, right? People like yourself, idea makers out there that are putting these ideas into the universe and you're creating jobs potentially out of that as well. So, based on everything you've shared in this podcast today, you're giving a ton of value, which is really, really exciting. You got your hand in a lot of different pieces. You've been able to grow not only a real estate team and a company that way, but you've also been able to build out a platform for other real estate investors to use on the technology side, right? And you're doing the mastermind. You're going to help people. I mean, I just hear gives across the board. So that is phenomenal. You sound like a phenomenal person. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Now, just for sake of time, we're coming up on time here. Are you ready for a lightning round, Melissa?
Okay. Yep.
All right, let's do it. What is your hashtag invest this tip? If you can give them one to our listeners to keep them moving forward.
Keep studying your business. Dig into it.
That's huge.
Analyze everything.
That is huge. That is a big tip. Very easy to get sidetracked from that. So thank you for sharing. Do you have a favorite book that's had a massive impact on your life or business or both?
Okay, I'm a book nerd, so I had a whole list. So I would just say, seriously, I got a problem. Personally, I would say Code of the Extraordinary Mind was mind-blowing for me. And then business-wise, I would have to say The Advantage by Patrick Lencioni was a big impact for me for the business.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing both of those. I have never heard of either one of those books, so I'm excited to get them and read them, and I can get back to you on that.
Awesome.
What about advice? Obviously, we talked about your mentorship at the very beginning of your career, but who's giving you the best advice? What has that been? And share that with us.
I've had a lot of advice given to me over the years. But I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about, what recently has really resonated with me. And I have somebody in my life that keeps telling me, stop apologizing. And because I find myself always saying, I'm sorry, and just for like random things, like, I'm sorry, I didn't get that done in time. I'm sorry, this or that, whatever. And, and he's always telling me, stop saying you're sorry. So that means something to me. And then another person in another mastermind that I'm in, a woman told me, we always say we're sorry. Don't say you're sorry unless you actually hurt somebody or something. You shouldn't be saying you're sorry. So stop apologizing.
That's huge advice. In a way, it's kind of a cop-out, right? Because it's like the go-to sentence is, oh, I'm sorry. If you think that somebody doesn't like what you had to say, or somebody, whatever it might be, say, oh, I'm sorry, right? And so that's a big piece of advice. Thank you for sharing that. I think the listeners will really get a lot out of that. Thank you. You've been sharing it the entire podcast here, but how do you like to give back? Just give me one thing, because I know there's lots and lots of them for you.
One thing. Yeah. I really enjoy responding to people when they connect with me directly, like feeling that they are comfortable enough to reach out to me. And so doing that through the blog, I think is a big deal. Well, shouldn't say the blog, our Facebook group, our Flipping Junkie Facebook group, when people reach out and they have questions, I love answering them. Awesome.
I'm sure you've impacted several people's lives doing that, in addition to all the other things that you're giving back. So thank you for doing that. Last question for you. How can the listeners reach you if they want to learn more about you, if they want to get connected to you directly? What's the best way they can find you?
We have several different ways, but we have the Flipping Junkie blog, so flippingjunkie.com.
Okay.
Is the blog and the podcast info. And then we've also got a Flipping Junkie Facebook group that you can join. And I'm pretty active in there, try to get in there and answer questions. We've got an Instagram, Flipping Junkie, and a YouTube channel, Flipping Junkie. And then the Mastermind, innercircle.com/apply. And that's where you can find out more about that.
Awesome. Well, we will make sure to include that in the show notes for all the listeners out there so that they can reach you. And it's been a pleasure having you on the show today. You have been phenomenal in the amount of information and the gift you've given on the podcast. I think it's pretty apparent to everybody out there that you are a giver. And I really appreciate you sharing everything you did today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. And hopefully we'll see you again. I know I'll talk to you real soon. And just as a reminder for everybody, if you got content out of this podcast, please like and subscribe and share it with your network. We're trying to spread our word. And the easiest way to do that is for you to share and subscribe. And we'll talk to everybody real soon. Thank you.